Hey guys, Metal Knight here, and lately I've been getting a lot of PMs and comments about some basic questions about League of Legends, probably because these people haven't been playing for long. So I decided to actually make a short series of, let's say, 3 or 4 episodes to explain everything you need to know about this game so that you could just hop in and start playing without any problems. So this is the League of Legends main website. The first thing that you're going to have to do is sign up and create an account if you haven't already. If you guys can, use my referral link, which I'm going to include in the description below. If you don't want to, or if you have a friend who has a referral link and invited you to play, use that. It really doesn't bother me. It's just a way to say thank you. So once you've actually gone to the referral page, you'll see this. So what you have to do is enter your name, then put a password, then put an email address, date of birth, and once you've done that, it'll ask you for a region. Now, this is very important, so if you have a friend that you're playing with, be sure to ask them what region they're playing in. If not, then try to pick the region that you're close to or live in. I currently live in North America, so I'm going to leave it at that. Then you agree, sign up, and then put a password and put the authentication code and click play for free. So once you've done that, you're gonna have to download the game. So just pick the version again. This is also very important, and then click download game. Once you're finally finished downloading the game, you're gonna see this come up. So what you have to do first is make sure that you're in the right region and you're not playing and you don't have let's say a North American account and the launcher's on Turkey, because you're not going to be able to play. Make sure it's whatever region you're in. Click save and then click play. Now the login screen is going to appear, and just enter your passwords. And once you sign in, sometimes it takes a tiny bit of time to sign in. There we go. Alright, once you sign in, you're going to see this. So we're going to start from the bottom and then work our way up. Okay? So this basically is a chat room, which you could do by clicking create and join chat room. Not very important, but it's good to know. Then there's your notifications. This is where you're going to see when people add you or somebody leaves the game or things like that. And by somebody leaves the game, I mean when you're still in the queue and not actually in the game. And then there's this page, which is where you could classify your friends into their own folders, and you can add friends and remove friends. So yeah, there's that. Then the next thing is the store. The store is basically where you could buy skins and champions. Skins are aesthetics for champions, and they make your champion look differently. For example, Arcade Sona and Sona. Sona's a support champion, and she looks normally like this, but if you buy this skin, that's how she's going to look. It does not make your character stronger, it's just an aesthetic. Then there's themes. Basically, this is the only theme in the game. What it is it's a special skin, worth a lot of money, and you basically get a special icon for it. These are icons, and nothing really special. Then there are runes. Runes also make your champion stronger, and we'll talk about those in a bit. Boosts, I wouldn't really advise XP boosts, but if you have money to waste, IP boosts aren't terrible, especially the ones that are for specific days, let's say like 3-day ones for that much RP. Then there's bundles where you could buy rune pages, or you could buy a pack of champions. This, if you have money, and if you want to put money into the game, I would strongly recommend getting a champion bundle or any of these three, because basically you get 20 champions for free. Well, not for free, but you know what I mean. Instead of having to buy them all in here, and it would take you literally forever. Believe me, I've done that. So once you've looked at bundles, there's other, which is transfer to Brazil, summoner name change, additional rune page. This is because the reason this is here is because the Brazil server just came out, so you'd have to unlock it to actually transfer. They're not giving it away for free, which I'm not gonna give my opinion on that. Next, this is your profile page. You could see how many games you've won, how many minions you've killed, takedowns, which is anytime you get kills, assists, towers destroyed, etc. And then there's your ranked stats, where you could see what ranked ELO you are in 3v3, which is 3 players versus 3 players. Solo queue, which is you or another person go against 5 other people with a 5v5, but you don't know all 5 people. Or ranked 5s, which is 5 people, you get a group of 5 people, and you fight another group of 5 people. You could see your ranked stats. You're probably not going to see this very soon, but eventually, once you get to level 30, you could actually start playing ranked, and that's when you're going to see your ranked stats, which it tells you information about what champions you've played, how many times you've won with that champion, things like that. The next thing is your match history. You get to see your last I think it's 10 games, 20 games, around there, 15 maybe. Games, how many kills you got, how many deaths, how many assists, what items you built, and things like that. Then there's champions. It tells you all the champions that you own. If you don't own a champion, that champion is grayed out, and you can unlock them. To unlock a champion, you either spend RP, which is riot points, which you have to buy, or IP, which is influence points, and you get them every time you play a game. Now there's different types of classes when you get into game. There are junglers. Which jungler? These are junglers. These are champions who basically go into the jungle and not a lane and kill the jungle creeps and end up ganking lanes and trying to get your lane fed. Then there is solo tops, for example Darius, who is basically, you play him as a tanky DPS or tanky damage per second, and you go top lane and you try to win your lane. And then there's mid, for example Karthus, and basically this is an AP champion, an ability power champion, where you go mid lane. It's also a solo lane like top, I didn't mention that before. And yeah, and then there's AD carry, which is attack damage carry, which is somebody like Graves, who uses auto attacks and relies on auto attacks to deal his damage. And finally there is a support, for example Taric. And basically what this champion does is he supports his entire team by healing them, by giving them passives. For example, Taric has a passive where he gives his entire team armor, and usually these champions have stuns or some sort of CC, which is crowd control. Alright, so now let's talk about rune pages. So basically, you start off with 2 rune pages. You buy more rune pages in the store, and what you basically want to do with rune pages is you try to fill them up for what role you're trying to fulfill. For example, this rune page is called Ability Power per Level, which I could rename by clicking here. And what this rune page has is Ability Power and Magic Penetration. This ability power, this page is basically so that when I go mid and I play an Ability Power champion, I usually rely on my late game, so around level 7 is when I start fighting, and it gives me an advantage, basically. But other people could also get rune pages, so so you have to be really careful when you're buying rune pages because it's very important. Another example is this one that's flat ability power, and this one's geared more towards me going mid but early game fighting instead of around level 7-8 fighting. I'll fight earlier and harass earlier. And then, for example, this is a tanky DPS page. This is usually the page that I use for top, which gives me armor, magic resist, and physical damage. And the reason that I'm doing that is so that I'm a bit tankier. I could also deal a bit more damage, so that the lane that so that when I actually group up with my team, I don't melt instantaneously. And there's a lot more pages. For example, my support page, which gives me armor, magic resist, and gold. And basically what you do is this is an empty page, and you just drag what you want in there. And you fill it up. And not all of these are going to be unlocked when you start at level 1, but they're all going to slowly unlock until you reach level 30, which is the max level. And then there's these buttons, clear, save, and also this rune combiner, which not many people know about, so I thought that I'd mention. And basically what you have to do is you put 1, 2, and you could combine them, combining your useless runes if you, for example, bought a rune that you weren't supposed to, and combine them and you get a totally new rune. I'm not going to do it because I don't really want to, because I feel like it's sort of a waste because you combine 2 runes to get 1 back. But if you have 2 completely useless runes, it's a great idea. The next thing is Masteries. And basically what Masteries do is, like runes, they give you an advantage. Now, there's offense, which is going to make your champion stronger. Both the ability power champions and the attack damage champions build off of this, but the difference is that the attack damage build off the left side mostly, and the ability power champions build off the right side mostly. Then there's tanks. Usually you would go down here to make your champion tankier. There's supports where it's usually go down the utility tree, or I go down the tank tree for some supports, not all of them. And then there's junglers. Junglers are sort of like the attack damage tree, but they're sort of different, as you could see. So yeah. And rune pages, you just basically put them in. Click, click, click. And then there you go. You could return, save, delete. And those are the rune pages. Now for spells, I'm going to go very quickly on spells because you guys could easily just read what it says, but I felt like it's still sort of important, so I'll just go quickly. Barrier gives you a shield. Exhaust basically slows the champion that you're fighting, and it reduces their attack damage by 70%. Garrison is for a game mode called Dominion, which I'll explain in a minute or two. And basically it makes your turrets invincible for a couple of seconds. Or not invincible, but they regenerate health and deal more damage. Sorry. Ghost makes your champion move faster for a couple of seconds. Heal heals your champion and the champions around you by a certain amount, but it heals the champions around you by 50% less. Revive revives your champion instantaneously. Smite deals true damage to a minion or a monster, and basically that is used usually for jungling. This is a necessity. Surge basically gives you ability power and attack speed. It's not a very good summoner spell, but it's still there if you want to use it. Teleport basically teleports you from one location to a tower or ward or minion. Cleanse removes CCs and disables, so it's a pretty good summoner spell. Clarity gives you mana. Usually I would also say stick away from this one unless you're doing something fancy, but I wouldn't advise it. Ignite basically deals true damage for a certain amount of seconds. For example, it deals, let's say, 10 true damage for a total of 70 true damage for 7 seconds. That's not a right number, but it's just an example. Next thing is promote. It basically turns your minion into, let's say, a super minion, which gives it extra damage and extra health and other bonus stats. Clairvoyant is used to reveal an area of the map for a couple of seconds. And Flash makes you basically, it's like an instantaneous teleport, but with a certain amount of range. You can't do it across the map like you can with teleport. Okay, so now that I've explained summoner spells, the next thing I would like to talk about is teams. So basically, you guys could create a team, and once you've created it, you can invite people to your team, and you can make a team. And what does a team do? It basically allows you to play together in a ranked 3s or ranked 5s games, and you gain yellow. This is mostly for level 30s. And then they give you very detailed stats about like what happened this game, did you do good, did you do bad, blah blah blah, and it gives you overall stats. Now, one thing that I would also like to say is that when you click on champions, it shows you their skins, but also it shows you their abilities, which I would advise you to look over if you're playing a champion for the first time, because it's very insightful when you read like, oh, this actually slows the champion. Oh, this actually pulls the champion here. Very useful. This is actually not very old. It gives you the champion's lore, which is basically a background about that champion. It's not really important, but it's a cool thing to have. It gives you some item recommendations and how you should build them, but I don't advise using this. I'll actually explain in a couple of seconds what you should use. And yeah, if you click here, you could return to the main lobby. And then I'm going to click here, and it's going to basically give overall lore instead of specific champion lore. It's really cool, but again, nothing important, just something so you can know a bit more about the game. Then you could click help and find out a bit about the game. And then you could edit some preferences, but most of the preferences are going to be in-game, so I'm going to show you that a bit later in probably the next episode, because this episode I'm just focusing on the way it looks. Alright, so now you're about to go into game. There's 3 different game types. There's Summoner Rift for 5v5, there's the Twisted Tree Line for 3v3, and then there's Dominion, which is the Crystal Scar. The Crystal Scar is basically capture points and defend points, and the first team who reaches from 200 points to 0 loses. Summoner's Rift and Twisted Tree Line are both the same premise, except one is played 5v5 and one is played 3v3. And basically, what you have to do is you have to level up your champion, get that champion from level 1 to level 18, push, kill minions, get gold, buy items, push down their turrets, and eventually destroy their inhibitor and destroy their nexus. I'll explain what an inhibitor and a nexus is a bit later, but that's the basic premise. Once you've destroyed the enemy's nexus, you win the game. The next thing is you could do blind, draft, or ranked. So blind is basically when you can't see the enemy's team. you just pick a champion, your teams pick their champions, and you just go into game. Draft is a bit different. You ban 3 champions on each side, which means that they can't play those champions, and then one person on your team picks, then 2 on their team, then 2 on your team, then 2 on their team, then 2 on your team, then 1 on their team, and you get to see who picked what. Ranked is the same thing as draft, except you gain and lose ELO for it, and ranked teams are when you're in a group of 5, and this is what you gain and lose. You gain ELO and lose ELO. The next thing is co-op versus AI. I would advise you to do this if you're still new to the game and aren't 100% sure how to play. It's basically you and your team of 5 people or your friends fight against a group of 5 robots. It's very good if you want to get better. Then there's a custom where you could join games, custom games which don't give you much IP, but they're actually fun. There are a lot of fun games in there. And then there's actually you creating it. You could create your games. You could set if you want to draft, if you want all the people to be random in the game, and blah blah blah. Now the next thing is tutorials. There's the Proving Grounds tutorial and Summoner's Rift tutorial. I would honestly advise you guys to go through both of these if you're new to the game, because it gives you a lot of basic information that I'm probably not going to be able to cover, or I'm probably not going to remember to cover. So I would still advise you, no matter what, to do these 2, and then maybe do a game or 2 of co-op versus AI, and then you guys should be ready for this. So what else is there to talk about? Alright, let's show you what happens when you get into a game. So we're gonna do Summoner's Rift. We're gonna pick blind, we're gonna pick blind. We're gonna create the game. Now this is a custom game, so it's gonna look differently. So once you start a blind game, this is what it looks like. Except there are 4 more people on our team and 5 more people on their team. So once you actually pick a champion, let's say for example Ash.
Smart choice.
She's an AD carry, or maybe let's go for Renekton. Why not?
As I live,
You pick Renekton.
die.
You decided to change. You get to change your skin. This is his normal skin. It's classic. And then I changed it to this skin. You could also say I wanted this skin. I could click to unlock, and then I could buy it from inside the game. So I picked my skin. I picked my champion. The next thing is you want to pick what runes you want. So I'm going to pick this rune page, which is for top lane. And you're going to pick your Masteries, and then you're going to pick your summoner spells. Flash is by far the most useful summoner spell, so always carry that. And normally for your second one, people usually carry Exhaust or Ignite. Some people carry Cleanse if they're playing the AD carry. Some people carry Ghost over Flash, but that's more preference. So once you're ready, you would lock in, and then in 8 seconds the game will begin. I'm going to quickly quit though, because I'm going to see you guys in game in the next episode. But before that, I'd like to quickly go to this website, which is solomid.net, and I would like to quickly explain builds and runes and masteries using this. So basically, you go to this page, which I'm going to also put in the description, and you pick the champion you're playing. So I'd put in Renekton, and you click search. Once it's done searching, it'll give you a featured guide on how to play Renekton. So you click on that, and here you get to see what runes, masteries, what runes they advise you to pick, what masteries they advise you to pick, the skill order, because you have 4 skills in the game, the skill order you should be using, and then the items that you should build. This is actually a very, very important site, and if you want to become a better player, I would highly recommend you to go to the site, look at what they're saying for you to do, and do it. Yes, now this is very controversial. You shouldn't build exactly like this. What you should do is you should evaluate this enemy team. Oh, do they have more magic damage? Do they have more physical damage? Okay, I'm gonna build, let's say, Force of Nature first because that gives me magic resist, and they have a lot more magic damage currently. But since you guys are still new, I would just advise you to go to this website and build it just whatever it tells you, build in that order. Because even though that sounds silly for the more veteran players, this is actually how you're going to get better. And once you're actually at a certain degree, once you're at a certain level and you know how to play properly, then start thinking, okay, well, what should I build, what should I not build in each game. So once you've looked through this, it's a bit long, but I'm telling you, it's very worth it. And you're ready, then you could go into game, you could actually play. So yeah, this is gonna be the end of episode 1, and episode 2 will be all about in-game things, which I will explain. I'm probably gonna just start with solo top and explain about that, and then I'm gonna move on to other rules. So yeah, thanks for watching my video. I know it's been a bit long, but there's no other way I could have explained this and explained everything to you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like and a favorite and subscribe. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.